Good morning, dear students.
Good morning, sir.
Hope everybody is doing fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay. After having discussed the principles of communicative language teaching, let us now discuss the advantages of communicative language teaching. Okay, advantages of communicative language teaching. Well, if I ask you, what do you think is the biggest advantage
to be able to communicate fluently?
To be able to communicate fluently? Very good. Yes, yes. So you think that CLT gives you fluency in speech? It makes you fluent. That can be the first point. Okay. The learners gain fluency, you may say. The learners of English language, that is ESL learners, the learners gain fluency. Yes, this even I feel is the biggest advantage. In fact, the learners gain fluency in the target language. Let's make it short. The target language. Yeah. There might be some overlapping also, because while we discuss principles, although principles means characteristics, traits, but they also include, say, one or two points of advantage as well, merits also. So you might find some overlapping here. So as she said, that learners gain fluency in the target language because they use the target both inside the classroom and outside the classroom. This is what we noticed. This enables the learners to be more confident when interacting with other people, and they also enjoy talking more. Once you pick up learning, like once you gain communicative competence, then you start enjoying the language. Does it happen or not?
Yes, sir.
And then you wish to speak more and more. This is very true and very practical. I think you too must have experienced this thing. Like, for example, when you learn to drive, okay, earlier you might be scared, afraid, you might have hitch, but once you learn driving, you start enjoying it. Same goes with everything. Once you know how to play billiards, you start enjoying it. Once you know how to cycle, then you enjoy cycling. This is what. So once you learn something, you start enjoying it. Same goes with, attaining confidence or attaining communicative competence in the target language. Is that okay?
Yes.
So what was I saying? CLT enables the learners to be more confident when interacting with other people. When they are talking with other people, then they feel themselves confident. Why? Because they have attained communicative competence and they enjoy talking. As you enjoy, as I said, driving after learning it well. Thus, CLT helps learners in attaining communicative competence and makes them confident enough to use language accurately and appropriately. Okay. It's not, they just speak, without any reason and rhyme, and their language or their sentences, their utterances do not have any sense. They do make a sense. So they learn to speak accurately and appropriately. Appropriately means using the appropriate words. They know what word is to be used, how sentences are to be constructed. CLT gives them this confidence. CLT makes them that proficient. Is that fine?
Yes.
CLT provides opportunities to learners, not only about what to say, and not only what to say, but also about how to say. Okay, not only what to say, but also how to say. Okay, when I say this, what to say and how to say, what do I mean by this? Can you tell me?
But how can we put our viewpoint in front of the second person in an appropriate way that he or she understands it well, and we are able to convey our idea?
Convey our idea. How to say? Okay, what to say means whatever you see, whatever you are speaking, whatever you're saying has a meaning. Okay, it's not meaningless. That makes a rhyme. That makes a reason. Okay, and how to say, and you know also how to put your expression in a say grammatical sound way, following the grammatical structure. How to say. So this is okay. The learners gain fluency in the target language. Well, this is the first advantage that we talked about. Hope this is clear. And then CLT proves advantageous because it is student oriented. We were talking about student oriented and teacher oriented. So CLT is student oriented. You may say it proves advantageous. Advantageous, useful. It proves advantageous because it is student oriented. Student oriented. You know, when the teacher is active in the classroom and the students are passive, just the passive listeners, we call that approach or method teacher oriented. But as far as CLT is concerned, it is student oriented, and because it is student oriented, that's why they have opportunity to speak more and more. They are very active. This is what and in fact they get the opportunity to speak, and since they get the opportunity to speak, they also pick up the language. They gain fluency also in the language. These points are interlinked in a way. Yes. So, it proves useful because it is student oriented. Communicative approach is, I would say, much more student oriented in comparison to other approaches. Okay, because it is based on students' needs and interests. The teacher talks less and listens more to the students. Teacher talks less. That means teacher is just a facilitator. He is not all the time giving instructions. Okay, instructions are not given, and if required, only sparingly given. Do you understand this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Instructions are only sparingly given. Sparingly given, that means not given freely. Okay, this gives learners opportunity to speak unhesitatingly. Means they can they have the liberty to speak. They do not hesitate because teachers won't stop them if they are speaking, if they are communicating, because the purpose is to make them speak. That is why they do not have any hitch, they do not have any hesitation, they do not have any impediment. They know that the teacher wouldn't stop, so they continue speaking and they gain fluency. Right? So this is the point. It proves advantageous because it is student oriented. Yes, if I ask you which approach is considered to be student oriented, what do you mean? Come on. Yes, you tell me. Yes, come on.
It involves upliftment of student. That is, the role of teacher is minimum and the role of student is maximum, as it includes group activities or activities amongst fellow classmates in a group of 2 or more than 2, so that they are independent and they know how to communicate unnecessarily.
Good. Very nice. Yeah. So CLT that way makes the learners independent and responsible. Communicative language teaching makes the learners independent and responsible because they are doing things on their own without the aid of the teacher, without the assistance of the teacher. They don't have to bank on their teacher for say doing things. They do not take the directions or instructions from their teacher. So what is it? CLT makes the learners independent and responsible. Now this can be the third point. CLT. I said that these are all interconnected. CLT makes the learners responsible and is independent. Good. CLT makes the learners responsible and independent. The major focus of CLT approach is on the learners, as we just saw that it is student oriented. So major focus is on the learners of the language. Emphasis is given on pair and group work, as she pointed out. That emphasis is given on pair and group work. This type of work helps the students to become more independent and to accept responsibility. They start behaving in a mature way. Even the young ones, they feel good when they are given a free hand. They feel that they are responsible. They feel that they are independent. They feel that they are free. They have the liberty. So this makes them act in a mature way. The teacher simply manages the environment and helps the learners to become autonomous. Okay? Which word I use? Autonomous. Who becomes autonomous? The learners become autonomous. How do they become autonomous? Autonomous means independent. Okay? Yes. How do they become autonomous? Because teacher does not intervene. Teacher makes them, say, organize activities themselves. He is just around. He is just a facilitator. Okay? So students feel a great thrill. They enjoy. They feel a great thrill to hold language learning activities without the aid of the teacher, without the assistance of the teacher, without seeking any help from the teacher. The teacher does not remain a teacher here in this approach. What does he become?
He becomes a facilitator.
He becomes a facilitator. Very nice. Very good. He becomes a facilitator. So CLT makes the learners responsible and independent. Learners become autonomous, they become responsible, they become independent. Yeah, and students acquire grammar rules as a necessity to speak language flawlessly. Okay, students acquire, attain, or learn grammar rules as a necessity to speak language flawlessly. It happens. Once once you have gained confidence, once you have learned the language, once you know how to speak it, once you know how to communicate it, then it becomes easier to learn the rules of grammar. Otherwise, if you start with the grammar rules, then you may learn the grammar rules, you may learn them by heart, yet you won't be able to speak, yet you won't be able to communicate. So students acquire grammar rules as a necessity because they're essential. Why do we learn grammar? Tell me. Why do we learn grammar?
To attain a proficiency and accuracy in our language.
To attain accuracy, it gives us a sense of accuracy. We know that whatever we are speaking is correct. That's why grammar is important. Grammar cannot be ignored. That is why, if you remember, right in the beginning we discussed that. The linguists like Brumfitt and all, what did they say? They say that mere linguistic competence is not enough. Along with it, what is required? Communicative competence is required. So two must go side by side. And importance of neither of the two can be undermined. Both are equally important. Linguistic competence is important as well as communicative competence is important. Although linguistic competence can be attained afterwards, later on, once you have attained the communicative competence. So we can put it this way also. So what point should I write here? Students acquire students. Instead of acquire, say learn. Grammar. Students learn grammar as an essential part of language learning. Now this is easy and you can elaborate it very easily. Students learn grammar as an essential part of language process, you may say, or language learning, you may say. Okay? So once students learn to speak English fluently, they wish to speak English flawlessly too. Once you gain fluency in speech, then you wish to speak correctly, flawlessly. You wish to be infallible. You don't want to commit mistakes. And so what do students do? They attempt to acquire grammar rules as a necessity to speak, which makes them proficient and efficient. Okay, learning grammar rules makes the students proficient and efficient. They acquire sense of accuracy. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Can I write the fifth point down here? Or shall I rub the first 2 points?
You made up the first point.
Okay. The learners gain fluency in the target language. Now you write it. I hope you have written it. The learners gain fluency in the target language. This is the most important point, the first one which I have rubbed off. Okay, but it should not be rubbed off from your. You are not supposed to erase it from your memory. Remember it. This is fifth point. Okay. Now I will rub it off. Well, if I ask you, what did I rubbed off from here? What did I rub off from here? Yes, which is the most important point here? Come on.
The learners gain fluency.
The learners gain fluency. Okay, good. The learners gain fluency of his speech in the target language. Very good. That's what. Yeah. So, CLT encourages to personalize and localize language. Localize the target language, I must say. Same, like the way you have personalized and localized your mother tongue, CLT encourages or enables the second learners of English language to personalize and localize it. So you may write it like this: CLT encourages to personalize. You can either write S or Z. Okay, CLT encourages to personalize and localize the target language. If it is not very precise, okay, I'll make it. CLT encourages to personalize and localize. Is it okay? Localize the target language. Once say communicative approach encourages to personalize and localize language and adapt it to interests of students. The main focus of approach is to make the learners able to understand the intention and expression of writers and the speakers. Yeah, if I go back here, I said that CLT encourages to personalize and localize the target language. What does that mean? The way you have personalized your mother tongue, the way you have localized your mother tongue, you do not have to think when you speak, when you communicate in the mother tongue. You have personalized it. the words have become their own, their meanings have become your own. You localize it. You know how to express yourself. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You know how to express yourself. You do not have to think. Means it's something very natural, very spontaneous. It's very natural, very spontaneous. So what have you done with your mother tongue? You have personalized it. You have localized your mother tongue. And the same way, CLT enables you to personalize and localize the target language as well. How? Because it makes you speak inside the classroom and outside the classroom. You have an exposure to the target language. You have an exposure of the target language. You hear the target language everywhere. It's all around you. You read the English newspaper, you watch the English news, you watch the English serials, you watch the English films, and you communicate in English not only with your parents, siblings, or your friends, but everybody around you. So if you do this, then what happens? The language is personalized, the language is localized. This is your own. Okay? When you buy a new shirt from the market or a new trousers from the market, it feels a bit say new to you. Means your body has not adopted it. But once you wear it 2 or 3 times, then you personalize it, localize it. That means now it is your own. Do you understand this? So this is the way to make something personalized or localized. This is how language is personalized and localized. The target language. How? By speaking more and more. When you give a new tool to a baby, like walker to a baby. Now he might not be very comfortable with the walker initially, but once he sits in the walker and moves it, he has personalized the walker. Now that walker has become his own. He handles it the way he wants to handle it. Okay? Same goes with riding a cycle or driving a car. Is it okay?
Yes.
Otherwise, I know that it's not very precise when you simply read the points. CLT encourages to personalize and localize the target language. That's why I explained it in such a detail.
Yes.
So the main focus of CLT approach is to make the learners able to understand the intention and expression of the writers and speakers. This is also another advantage of CLT. It improves your comprehension. When somebody speaks, you know what the person is saying. You understand the meaning. Okay? And when you are communicating, when you are expressing something, you know what you are trying to say. Suppose, somebody is saying something and you do not understand his intention, you do not understand his words. That means, the communication is not successful. Communication is successful only when, the person who is expressing is understood by the listener. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
When is communication successful? Come on.
When the listener is able to understand what we are saying.
Okay, when the listener is able to understand. And when is he? When you are saying it meaningfully. When you are making meaningful utterances. So, meaningful language is always, more easily retained by learners. And therefore, in CLT, meaning is given foremost importance. Meaning is given foremost importance. Once we discussed 6 areas of fields of linguistics, and one of the field gave emphasis on the meanings. Do you remember which is that field? Pragmatics. Okay, pragmatics. So here, this approach improves your pragmatics. This makes your comprehension good. This is a big advantage. Okay. Shall I remove this point as well?
Yes, sir.
It proves advantageous because it is student oriented. Okay, I want you to repeat the first point. What was that? Students gain fluency in his speech. What was the first point? Students gain fluency in the target language. That was the first point. And this point which I am removing is that it is a student-oriented approach. What is it? Student-oriented approach. Is it okay? Do not forget them because I have removed it now.